What's up, guys? Welcome to another video of Dev Talks with your host Travian, where we talk about everything engineering and technology wise. In this video, we're actually going to be diving into why tire companies love EVs. I actually have no clue on how this is exactly going to go, how this is going to shape out. I have no idea why this is, and it's probably the way that EVs overall drive. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate it. If you want to send me any recommendations, send me an email at devtalkspod@gmail.com, and I'll try to cover it as soon as I can. And let's dive in.
The business of tires is a business of slow change, slow growth, and low margins. The total market value has remained around $50 billion in the past few years, and it isn't expected to grow much in the coming years either.
I mean, it grows a little faster than population, but a lot slower than GDP. So, in some ways it grows slower than toothpaste, much like the auto industry generally.
The industry is competitive and highly susceptible to spikes in raw material costs, and a lot of buyers treat its products as commodities, often not even knowing the difference between one brand and another. Price is usually the only differentiator. But the future may look a lot different. Some believe a real move to EVs will open up a whole new realm of opportunity. After all, EV tires cost 50% more and need to be changed 20% more often.
Why? Actually, I think they're going to dive into this, but that is news to me. I didn't even know you needed special tires for an electric vehicle. I thought they were using the same tires that everybody else was using. I know certain vehicles use different type of braking mechanics and things in that regard, but I didn't know EVs would, one, their tires last a lot longer, as it seems, and then two, they need special ones. I had no clue about that, actually.
The latest tires are engineered to tolerate an EV's heavier weight and lightning-quick acceleration. More importantly, improve the range.
If EV does kind of evolve and proliferate through the car population like some think, it may bring about what I call the gold rush for tire manufacturers.
From 2017 to 2022, the U.S. tire and rubber market grew about 9%, and the top three tire makers account for more than half of all tire sales in the country. Americans bought 330 million tires in 2022, an increase of less than 1% from 5 years prior. Overall demand is expected to grow about 0.8% through 2027.
It's a low growth business, and it's a product that we all take for granted to some degree. So given that backdrop, tires are what I would say amongst the most competitive businesses I've followed over the years.
The industry is highly exposed to raw material prices.
So let's cut to the EV portion in here. Good thing they have the notes for the chapters from when they go into discussing about different topics and everything, because I get it. The tire market is very competitive. Probably they don't have any real growth, and it's really hard to probably make money in it. But with these new EVs coming out and the new tires that each one of them do, it should expect a real growth in it based on what they're saying already. But I want to hear how the EVs are revolutionizing this and cover it, since we're talking about technology as a whole. So let's dive into that portion of the video and see what they have to say.
Now enter EVs, which pose whole new challenges.
We're very good at making tires for ice, but EV is a different animal.
At first glance, today's tire looks a lot like it did 150 years ago, a mostly rubber tube inflated with air. But a lot of innovation has taken place since then. Michelin, one of the largest tire makers in the world, created the radial tire in 1946.
Over the years, the rubber compounds, the materials that are put in them have been changed radically.
That includes compounds that stay soft at colder temperatures, allowing for hardier winter tires. Today's tires are made of several types of material. Adjustments to these different ingredients, the types of compounds used, tread design, and so on, can tune the tire for different types of performance. Racing tires, for example, are as slick as possible. Consider the entirely treadless rear wheels on a drag racer, allowing for a better grip on the road. Tires like that can slip in wet conditions. Most road tires have some kind of tread on them, in addition to other tweaks to make them better in bad weather. but treads slow tires down, hurting performance, gas mileage, or EV range.
Pull on one part of this, you give up on the other. The real trick is to pull on several different ways.
EVs provide both challenges and opportunities in ways that help distinguish tire makers from each other. One interesting one, EVs are a lot quieter than ICE cars, a mixed blessing as it makes tire noise more noticeable.
So you think about like the noise the basketball makes when it bounces. That's the air inside the tire ringing as you bounce the basketball. Tire does the same thing. It's got, inflated air in it, and as you go over bumps and do things, it can also create that. What we see with some of the platforms is that there can be a sensitivity to the way the vehicle is designed with that frequency.
There are ways to reduce this, such as inserting foam to dampen the sound. Another challenge, extending battery range, an EV's most precious resource. Gasoline is still far, far more energy dense than typical EV.
But the thing is, I don't think that they would. I don't think they're going to make a big investment on adding foam into the tires because one is going to cost more and maybe EV tire prices will go up even more. But the only reason that they're doing that is basically to mitigate the sound. And how important is that? It's probably not the number one priority in all of their tasks. But if what they said about the tire treads are going to hurt mileage and everything, they're probably going to try to take out the treads. And this is what I'm predicting that they're going to go into based on what they've said already. Try to take out the treads to a certain degree, but they have to be able to keep traction as well too in these vehicles, especially with how quickly they accelerate. So it becomes a really hard issue in that sense, which is probably why they do cost more and why they need their own tires. It makes sense now. See, we never learn anything. We learn new stuff every single day, but that is actually quite interesting if I had to say so myself and when we're going through that.
The battery. You get a lot more pound for pound in a gasoline car than with the comparable gas-powered Chevy Cruze can travel nearly 550 miles in a single fill-up. Its fuel tank holds 13.7 gallons, which weighs just above 80 pounds. Researchers are, of course, racing to change this. While EV batteries don't store energy as efficiently as gasoline does, EVs do deliver that stored energy far more efficiently. Only about 16 to 25% of the energy stored in a gallon of gas will actually power the wheels. Among other things, a fuel-burning engine loses about 65 to 72% of its energy to heat radiating off the engine and other parts of the car. EVs, however, deliver about 2/3 of their energy to the wheels, more if there are energy recovery technologies like regenerative braking. Vehicles also lose energy through tires.
I definitely did hear about regenerative braking. I can't remember if Tesla has it or not, but basically what that regenerative braking does is just to help the discussion. If anybody had a question for it, is whenever you brake and press on the brake, that kinetic energy will then go back into charging the battery so that you can then reuse the energy. And that's actually a crazy fact that when we look at like the actual energy output, maybe instead of maybe we should look at this on a fuel standard too, because just because we have gasoline engines and everything nowadays does not mean that they are the best. And what I mean by that is, it doesn't mean it's the best way to do it. If on all of our gasoline cars and vehicles, if we are losing 68 to 72%, let's just say 70% of its energy, then we need to figure out how to make it more efficient to be able to drive correctly. If we're wasting 70% of it, that means 70% of the gas we put in our car is truly just useless, in a sense. If I'm understanding that right, if anybody thinks I'm wrong, but let me know in the comments. But that definitely means that 70% of the fuel that we put in our gas tanks are useless, but 70% of the energy that we charge into our EVs is useful. Think about that. Think about that. That is actually absolutely crazy and insane. I can't believe how wild that is to sit here and I never knew that. This is why I love watching videos like this. This is why I'm so interested in technology and everything like that. And this is why I can't wait to have a show where I can talk to a lot of you guys about these topics, because this is absolutely insane that how the energy outputs is different between fuel versus EVs in a sense. And maybe there's a market there for somebody to go in and be like, how can we make these gasoline and energy and our gas engines more efficient with fuel, so that our fuel can last way longer. We don't have to go to the gas stations as much, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, and we get way more mileage out of them. That would be so amazing. And maybe a lot of them do, like with the eco-friendly cars and whatever, maybe like certain Priuses and things, maybe they do it a lot better. But just because that they have ones that exist a certain way does not mean it can't get even better. And maybe every car does, in my opinion.
Through something called rolling resistance, basically just a force that slows a tire down as it rolls, the same force that would slow down and stop a rolling ball. Because EVs don't suffer energy loss through engines, reducing that energy loss through tires has become much more important to making EVs as efficient as possible. Improving the tire can have a dramatic impact on an EV's range.
We've done studies that have shown that you can impact the range of an electric vehicle by as much as 10, maybe even 15%, depending on your tire choice.
That means if a vehicle has 300 miles of range, you can get an additional 45 just from using the right tires. One key challenge, and the one that could be the biggest boon for tire makers: EVs burn through tires.
This might be the first thing from an auto market development standpoint in decades that actually causes tire demand to increase.
EVs weigh a lot more than comparable ICE vehicles. The Kia Niro EV, for example, is about 20% heavier than its ICE counterpart. This isn't perfect, but a GMC Sierra 1500 pickup with a turbo diesel engine has a curb weight of about 5,540 pounds. The GMC Hummer EV is almost twice that. EVs also accelerate faster. The Niro with an engine accelerates from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 10.4 seconds max. The Niro EV does it in 7.8. Many EVs...
Okay, we're learning a lot with this video here. Absolutely insane. That I just want to say, first off, absolutely insane of how much heavier EVs are, but how much quicker they get off the line, and quick. How quick they are. Imagine if they found a way to make them even lighter, how much faster they would be quite dangerous also when you really think about it. But that's almost insane that the truck, like I wanted to cover the Sierras and the new GMC EVs and things, and I was just waiting on like a video on it or anything like that besides just the commercials that they give out. I feel like the commercials don't do good enough when it comes to describing a vehicle and whatnot. But basically, in a sense of if they're able to make EVs even lighter, maybe that'll boost their mileage as well. And what is weighing it? Is it the batteries that are weighing them all down? I wish they told us what was weighing them mostly down. I'm assuming it's the batteries, but I don't know. I need to do some research on that. That's interesting, actually.
These can easily attain supercar levels of quickness.
I'm sure you've had the opportunity to be in an EV, and if you've driven with a friend in your EV or their EV, one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to hit the pedal all the way to the ground, and they're going to throw you back in your chair, and you're going to be pretty impressed.
This is because of torque, a measure of the power an engine delivers to wheels. Electric motors don't have the same constraints as engines, so they can deliver torque very quickly, essentially instantly. That is what throws you back into your seat. A car taking off like that will scrub the tires more as they try to grip the road and accelerate the vehicle. Add more weight on top of that, and those tires are scrubbing the asphalt hard. The regenerative braking feature common on EVs is an additional force on the tire, moving in the opposite direction to slow the vehicle down.
High-performance tire in general wears out quickly anyway. Now you put the load and that extra power on that type of a tire, and it's going to wear out even quicker. I mean, some of these vehicles are wearing tires out in 15, 20,000 miles, which is concerning because they're wildly expensive as well.
while EVs expand, it's hard for me to think it's not a really good thing for Goodyear and other manufacturers.
Michelin expects the EV tire replacement market to grow about 6 to 7% by 2027. It's about 1 or 2% right now. Analytics firm AlixPartners says the total market for EV tires is expected to grow at a 33% compound annual rate through 2031. Meanwhile, ICE vehicle tires are expected to decline 2%. The average age of a vehicle in the US was just over 12 years in 2023. The firm estimates the cost of replacing EV tires over that time will be about twice what it is for ICE vehicles. EV tires are about 50% more expensive and need to be replaced about 20% more often.
We've been hearing this from...
I definitely heard that wrong in the beginning. I heard less often in the beginning, but it's 20% more often. I see it. I get it now. Because if you're changing them more often, they're already more expensive because they require more stuff to do. The EV market is booming right now. A lot more people are going to be getting different types of EVs, growing EVs from the scale, and building upon all of that. I can see how that is true. I can see how they're going to grow significantly large as far as people needing more tires, because gas vehicles aren't going away anytime soon. So when you have both of them there, hey, they might be losing money on gas, but they're going to be making so much more money due to EVs and the number of EVs that are going to be coming out, the styles, and the number of them just alone, which is insane.
Tire replacement chains for about 2 to 3 years consistently. A Tesla vehicle replaces its tires every 15,000 miles instead of every 40 or 50,000 miles. And that 15,000 might actually be a touch on the high side. It might be, even closer to 12,000 miles sometimes. If you think about that, that creates kind of a expanding replacement market annually for tire companies, which is something that hasn't happened in decades.
The biggest manufacturers say their EV or EV-ready tires should last a lot longer than that. Bridgestone's Turanza EV tire has a 50,000-mile limited warranty, and Goodyear's Electric Drive has a 60,000-mile one.
As we've developed some of these new technologies, regardless of kind of how quickly that transition happens. So we're going to be set up for success in general, but I think that we know that the EV proliferation is going to happen. It's just a matter of exactly how quickly it's going to happen.
Their tires are going to become more sophisticated and last longer. So as we get 5 years out, maybe it's not going to be a 12,000 mile replacement. It's going to be an 18,000 mile replacement. So I think that you're going to get a little bit of a eroding of the replacement cycle as they improve their R&D into the category.
Other tire development trends pose further challenges and opportunities. One is tire intelligence. The Goodyear tires that come fitted on the Tesla Cybertruck are equipped with sensors that measure tire temperature, pressure, and how much rubber is actually in contact with the road. Pulling that data together allows for some predictions. How much tread is left on the tire? When will the tire need to be replaced? And so on.
I did not know that I did not know that at all. That they're basically using the Cybertrucks as experiments so that they're able to make better tires. And I wonder how that business partnership works between Tesla and Goodyear, actually, because that is a come up for them. They're able to use their vehicles. It's pretty much the same thing where hey, McDonald's has their Keystone Foods thing where they talk to them only about this particular product and everything, and there's a help you help me kind of relationship. If Goodyear does tires with Tesla and it's hey, we only use Goodyear tires here, they replace them enough, and they're using the data from that, especially with Tesla being the largest EV market right now. Goodyear is going to have the biggest advantage over every other tire company when it comes to making EV tires. Statistically, they're just going to. And now that they're putting them on the Cybertrucks and getting this data, they're going to have a leapfrog advance into it. Let's finish this video out, and then I'll give final thoughts, but yeah.
Another area that has seen a lot of change is tire diameter. The ever-increasing size of American vehicles has boosted demand for proportional wheels. Rim diameters of less than 18 inches still make up most tire replacement sales in the US, but larger sizes are growing. Diameters of 18 inches or larger grew 10% in February 2023, year over year.
The size proliferation is insane. A lot of these EVs that we're seeing they're coming with 20, 21 inch, 22 inch wheels on them. Tires that wrap around a wheel that size are, no matter what their touted to do, they're more expensive.
As people go and gravitate towards that, vehicle manufacturers will continue to reinforce that behavior as they are getting rewarded for it. And so what we've seen is over the last 15 to 20 years, a significant increase just in the number of raw sizes in the market. The industry is very challenging as a baseline, but it continues to become more and more complex as it gets, newer and newer, and we get newer sizes. And I think we're on the verge of starting to see 23 and 24-inch rim diameter tires become a big part of the market.
While all of these rapid changes, heavier, torquier vehicles, onboard sensors, massive wheels, present opportunities for growth, they do strain the budgets of companies used to operating on razor-thin margins.
We've only got so much capacity. We've only got so much research and development capability. What parts of the market do we have to go after at the expense of potentially other parts of the market? And so I think you've seen, again, with rim diameters going up, some of those older vehicles may not necessarily get all of the latest technology, just because we've got to focus on things like EV products to make sure that we're there as that market grows.
I wonder now that, and since this video is done, that was a wonderful video, actually. I was able to learn a lot. I was excited about covering that video. Very, very amazing and everything. And not to hold this up too long because this video is already getting long enough. I wonder if they're going to get to the point, or when they're going to get to a point for universal tires where the EV ones can be on the regular fuel vehicles, and maybe those vehicles that have them that are gas, those tires last extremely longer due to the EV tires being made for the EVs and their insane weight, their torque, and all of that kind of stuff. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think that was actually an amazing video. Really educational and everything, and then it also gives you more perspective on what's going on around here and how it's going to grow. So basically, if you want to mess up the tire company, stick to gas. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm really intrigued on what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you want to send me any recommendations, don't forget, send me an email at devtalkspod@gmail.com. It will be in my description down below, along with my personal channel. I'll be dropping a bunch of different types of content on there. And you get to know me more on a personal level, things that I like to do. And I'm going to be building more onto it as time goes on, and that channel grows as well too. If you want to see more videos like this, without further ado, one should be popping up right about now. And peace. See y'all next time.